Welcome, Ms. Myers, and I'd like to ask you, as always, to give your address and so forth.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen. Linda Meyer, Speedwell, Virginia, 24374. I'm asking you, or I'm speaking to you about the water issue towards Speedwell. I feel that you've been steered towards decisions by choices presented in different ways by people around you. Some of these choices are not in the best interest of the taxpayers. Government by force is not democratic. Being able to get a grant for $3.8 million doesn't make spending an additional $1.5 million better, especially when it's not necessary or wanted by 98% of taxpayers in the area. The county is carrying $58.423 million of debt, and you want to add another $1.374 million in debt. Being in debt is not fashionable. I'm sure most people in Will County don't know they are in debt to about 20 grand each for every breath they take. We should have a choice in this, and it's not more responsible, and it is more responsible to assist taxpayers, perhaps with low-interest loans if they have well problems, than entering into a total system with that amount of expenditure. Debt by $1.374 million plus maintenance and bills for each homeowner that doesn't want it is unacceptable. By you deciding what's best for us does not speak of democracy, freedom, and liberty. Tax and spend are what we're seeing. Case in point, the new assessment and the $58 million debt, which grows daily. Living within our means and listening to your constituents should be your main objective and not government by force. That's concerning the Speedwell issue of water. The reassessments, of course, are on everybody's list, and they are excessive in all areas of town. That, in addition to being mandated to purchase water, which is not necessary, is just really outrageous in this economic situation.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ms. Beth Krieger. We'll be talking about the Wood County Rescue Squad billing. Are you representing your company?
I'm representing the County Rescue.
I did.
Beth Krieger, 195 West Spring Street, Woodville, with County Rescue Squad. I'm just here for information, really. The town council brought to my attention a couple weeks ago that they had some billing questions on how our revenue is processed, and they had some citizens concerned about whether they were getting adequate, the insurance was paid and all that stuff. So really, the only thing I did today is I just brought a billing summary for you guys to have. I spoke to town council last night, answered their questions, so I know I'm kind of hitting you off guard this morning, so I was going to give it to you, kind of tell you where we're at and what my board of directors is planning, and then if you have questions, and you can give it to me later or whatever. I don't want to take up your time today. So I've got 11 copies. I'll start with you, so you'll have that. Like I said, this is just information, just to make y'all aware of where the standing is at and what's our gross charges. This is only for 911 calls that we have run since all 2011 and the first couple months of 2012. So this is, like I said, I just want to let you all be aware of it because you all may have the same questions the county is, and I'm not aware of it. And I want everybody to kind of be on the same page. So if y'all get something. The first block there, of course, is the gross charges. This is what our rates are, and this is gross charges going to insurances. The next column, of course, is gross receipts. That is the money that we have received in from insurances, private pay, what have you. The refund column is really what Medicare audits us monthly. So if Medicare finds they've ever paid for something, then they'll send us a request back for the money. So those refunds they kind of hit me up sometimes for $1,000. This kind of alleviates the 1 yearly Medicare, and we have to pay a big chunk, so they do it monthly now. Net receipts, of course, that subtracts the refunds. Adjustments and write-offs, of course, there's so much of the insurances that are automatically wrote off. Medicare, we charge $450 for initial transport. Medicare only pays $271. So the rest of it's wrote off, except maybe a $50 deductible. So, like I said, agent balance, that's what kind of outstanding there. You know, down at the bottom, it shows you, we're going to write off probably around $101,000 in private pay, which has no insurance. So, we run around 2,600 calls just in 2011, and we're already exceeded our budget really for this year as far as calls we've run in 2012. Just a quick note, just to make everybody aware that my board of directors met last Tuesday evening. They saw the same information. They have talked about it. And they are seeking out information and wanted me to research about going to aggressive billing, which, the aggressive billing toward the citizens in collections and those type things. Like I said, that's the board of directors' decision. They vote for it in the second Tuesday of April, once we get the information together. So, I just want to make everybody aware that that's what kind of we're looking at. I'm not perfectly favorable to that, so I'm trying to get the information so they can make a, fair decision. Because rural treatment lines do not hard feel, if you want to use those words. So, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. If not, then I appreciate your time.
Any questions at this time, Beth?
Mr. Chairman, so Beth, you're going to, the Medicare, Medicaid, Blue Cross, that's going to come in, and what's usually the turnaround time on your system?
Medicare is usually a 2-week turnaround.
2 week on
Yeah, we bill weekly. We send it to the company, and they bill weekly. Usually everything goes out on Monday morning. It's usually a 2-week turnaround. In January 1st of this year, Medicare pretty much shut its doors for a couple of weeks and revamped their whole system. They actually increased our rates by 2%. So they redone the system, so it kind of backlogged us about 3 weeks. So
On this unpaid column here, are these receipts from 2011, or do they also include January and February?
that includes everything.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So that's not
Yeah.
necessarily, because I was
Yeah.
like 60 days, that would be under 60.
Right, yeah, because in January, February, and March of 2011, we didn't have billing from this current company as far as monthly. They billed everything April 1st because we had a switch over. So right now, we do have 12 months of actual active working accounts with this company. And we average about 50% return. For Rizzi and a lot of them, if you like, they're around 60%. But of course, they've been with their company about 6 years. So the more you're with it, the more time you were with the company, you get a better return. So we're right about 50% right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Doc?
When your board meets and discusses it, I guess one of the things that maybe we might encourage, I understand hard billing, but there are some people that just can't pay that. If there was some means that y'all adopted to allow people of poverty level or some kind of income level to be exempted from that.
I would preferably not like to do it at all, but it's, my director's, there's one specific, he works for a for-profit company, so he's looking at the money and, largely, we're still listed as nonprofit, and we can do the aggressive billing under nonprofit status, but in the same sense, if you don't have it, you don't have it, and it really honestly goes against what we're here to do, our mission, provide care regardless of the ability to pay. So.
I think I have a problem, the board can speak for themselves. I don't personally have a problem if you hard bill me and people report it, but for those that $350 may mean the difference. You maybe pick them up and again, they can't buy the medicine, they got to pay $350.
Absolutely. That would probably be my biggest fear is people don't want to call us now because they know they're going to get a bill. They won't call us, and it might be detrimental, So that's kind of we're trying to look at all options, but I don't know how much sway I'll have, but we're going to, I don't want, like I said, but it's totally up to them. But if you have any more questions before the third week of April, just let me know, and we'll come back, or I'll bring the board with me and whatever, so.
What's the commercial paper now?
Commercial
Commercial paper, what is that? Danny,
in the pipe range.
Oh, commercial paper, that's just an insurance. That, I mean, we have like traditions, it's just, I mean, it's just one of the insurances that comes through.
I never heard of it.
Now, see, when we do a lot of out of state, I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, but all of those, because this graph is what, our company forms, so I'll be honest with you, I don't know what cause it just, it comes from them, so. Because we don't technically see any cash receipts or anything. Everything goes into the lockbox, and we only get the funds once a week transferred over, so I don't get to see any of the, it's all scanned into Metro 3000, so. I'm not familiar with the insurance as well. Yes.
Beth, what are you paying for this service?
5.5%. They gave us this particular company came and spoke to the Board of Supervisors about 3 years ago and offered 5.5% for the county to do it as a whole, all three agencies. Well, when I met with her, she just, you know, graciously gave us the same rate.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
What do you, I thought you.
Oh, no.
No,
We scratched.
okay.
Okay.
Take note, please.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Veronica Walden. She would like to talk about the animal shelter. And, roll the tape.
We have a very serious case that I have to know about, but before I get to that, the animal shelters have been doing great things with their putting ads in the paper to get these animals adopted. Their volunteers and and we would like to ask you guys to see if we can do an adopt day that would also help them get adopted. As I understand right now, the shelter's pretty full. So how would y'all feel about this?
I think it's something we could work out. Like a Saturday, I think, would probably be a better day for that.
Right. My next one I have scheduled is for the 28th of April at Tractor Supply in the line there.
Mr. Byron, you said you kind of work with the animal.
Yeah, we'd be willing to work with them. We have difficulty in taking them to an outside location to do it, but I received a request earlier this morning from a lady that came by talking about possibly doing adopted days out the shelter and stuff. So, I think it's something we can certainly try to work with them on.
As for this case, as I understand, it's been going on for about 4 years, and it's been presented before. Last year, the guy was supposed to be moved from his property, and he has at least 12 dogs. They're not being taken care of properly. Like to hand these pictures around, give you an idea of what's going on. The dude don't own, the guy don't own the land that he's living on. He don't have sewer, water, electricity. The owner of the land has asked him to leave, the law enforcement's been involved, and a year later, it's still going on. I'm not really sure what else to do. The dog, live in an awful, I don't really know what you would call it. The guy comes out and throws food into the thing for them, they fight. I'm not really sure how they get water.
Probably walk furniture.
I'm sorry.
Probably a walk furniture.
This is a case.
As I understand, there's been at least 2 cases of littering dogs that's already passed away from police location. Veterinary care regularly.
Even, do you know if animal control is aware of this?
Actually, I received a phone call yesterday, from an individual asking about this. This is, board members last October, Mr. John Thomas came and spoke about Mr. Mike Thomas squatting on the property and the dogs that were there. If you remember, health department, building inspection department, animal at that time. I told Mrs. Johns yesterday that I would speak to Brandon Patrol Officer. I did speak with Arlen. He did confirm on the records that they do have dog tags, but Arlen was going to do a compliance check on site. Don't have reports from that. Don't know if he's had a chance to do that. This was probably between 3 and 4 o'clock when I talked with him yesterday, so I don't know if he went by yesterday, but we will look at it, investigate, and go from there.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Philip Witt. Would like to talk about yard sales. Would you give your address for us?
It's 240 Reach Top Drive, What my concern is for the poor people that have their yard sales alongside the road. This bill you're considering passing says no selling of merchandise along the highway. And if they live off the road, people don't go to their yard sale. They use the money they sell at the yard sales to pay their electric bills. I've even been at a yard sale and a woman goes in and takes her decoration off the wall and brings it out and sells it. It's a hard way to go. The times is hard, and if you have this bill like that with no selling of merchandise along the roadway, you're gonna really hurt the poor.
All right, so this actually deserves a public hearing, but I'll accept your comments right now. I do not believe in any way that this ordinance would affect a yard sale, but if they're not correct, unless they were actually standing on the road right away. Those people have a yard sale in their own yard.
Yeah, if they live along Major Highway, but if they live at some holler, they have to go find a wide spot alongside the road and set up there.
For a safety issue, they shouldn't be on the right of way.
Well, actually, they're not on the right of way.
Well, if they're not on the right of way, I don't think there's going to be a problem with this ordinance.
Well, that was my main concern, because they're having a hard enough time making it as it is.
Our next speaker is Mr. Floyd Witt with the same issue.
I'll go along her.
Yes, sir. At that time, I will close citizens' time. Our next order on the agenda is the minutes of the previous meeting, March 13, 2012. Your motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, is there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, then I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Now we'll have the public hearing, which is scheduled for 9:05. In compliance with the Code of Virginia and amendments thereto, the Witt County Board of Supervisors will conduct a public hearing to consider ordinance 2012-01 entitled Witt County, Virginia Ordinance prohibiting distribution of handbills, soliciting contributions, or selling merchandise on highways. The Board of Supervisors will hear comments from citizens concerning the proposed ordinance. The public hearing will be held on Tuesday, March 27, 2012 at 9:05 in the boardroom of the Witt County Office Building at 340 South 6th Street, Winston, Virginia. A copy of the proposed ordinance is on file for public review in the County Administrator's office located at 340 South 6th Street, Winston, Virginia, or online at wittcounty.org. We'll all open this public hearing. Anyone who did not have an opportunity, I think I asked everyone, and I did not see anybody that signed up for the public hearing. We did have a speaker for the public hearing, and we took your comments, Ms. Witt, during citizens' time. Anybody else? Yes, sir, Sheriff.
Morning, Mr. Sheriff.
Morning, sir.
Gentlemen. This particular ordinance that we're asking for is, in response to numerous complaints that the sheriff's office and I'm sure most of the members of the board have received about a variety of issues. None of them affecting yard sales because those are held on private property, and to my knowledge, I haven't seen one on public right of way. Problem we're having with, in particular, there's two. One is, people need money out of work, out of gas. Checked one the other day, claimed he was out of gas, got a gas tank on his guardrail, and had $300 in his pocket. I think he could have filled his 3-gallon gas can several times for $300. They also had a vehicle parked down below that, basically, in my opinion, solicit these funds to give people the impression that's as far as they went. They were all from out of state. We have a particular group from West Virginia that make a living doing this. And what they're causing are traffic hazards. I received a complaint from a citizen about the solicitation one day, and while I was on the cell phone with this particular citizen, you could hear this individual in the background screaming for solicitations in a obscene manner. Apparently, somebody told him to go away. If you look around the bridges, around interstate, you will notice the second group that are soliciting funds are soliciting them basically for alcoholic beverages. And after they finish consuming these alcoholic beverages, they don't take the time or effort to even put them in the trash can. They throw them over the guardrail. At exit 80 McDonald's, there's actually a camping area down over in the brush. These people work out of it. And they're making it look. And it is a traffic hazard. It's a nuisance. Public nuisance, in my opinion, to the citizens to have to go through and see these people day after day after day. It also addresses the issue of the flyers being thrown into the driveway by, I won't mention any names, but by various business interests, both in the county and out of the county. There's 2 that have been thrown into my driveway since we first started talking about this from Pulaski County. Now, I don't know if you've got any more complaints about the ones that were coming from local concerns. But if you do adopt this resolution, I would ask that a copy of it be mailed to these 2 business concerns that are throwing these things in people's driveways, but basically, in my opinion, littering, because they are unpermitted. If they want to get the materials out to the people, they'll pay postage like everybody else does. Here's a question.
Sure, can I ask a question, sir? One question I had from a constituent, and I guess just for clarification, churches that do visitation and distribute tracts or leaflets door to door, is that prohibited?
That is still not covered.
Okay, good, correct. I just wanted that to be.
They walk up to your door, knock on your door, ask you if you want this literature. It's not covered under, that's private property. All these activities are taking place basically on the public right of way. I know the last 2 that have been thrown into my way were a good 15 feet on the public right of way. And wasn't paying any attention to it the other day and ran over it, and I've got papers all over the car. But no, it would not have anything to do with distributing handbills by mail to the home. That's not what it's meant to do. It's meant to give us the enforcement power to be able to move these people off these interstate ramps and get them out again. I've sat and watched so many of them. Now, I've seen people give them food, they give them thanks, they drive away, and the food goes over their shoulder into the weeds behind the guardrail.
I can honestly say that I saw 3 McDonald's bags hidden, and this is in the town of Whitfield, near the Walmart entrance, or when they were soliciting, of course, I think that's been stopped now, but now.
Yeah, town already addressed it. I feel like it's time for us to address it. It's a very big issue.
Anyone else that needs to speak to this issue? Seeing none,
I'd like to add something about this.
well, you get to talk after we close the vote.
Okay.
Now, Al,
All right.
you got a little more.
Okay, no, I just want, to relate it, I've certainly received phone calls, on my end, not about the panhandling, but about the cell phone, that newspapers being thrown out. I've not received one positive comment about it. I know that I attended the town council meeting one night, and the town council also had a problem with it. I do know that they have a number that you can call to tell them not to throw it out. It's not, although they're nice to you, it's not quite as easy as I had to go through two people to get it stopped at my my driveway, because there's more than one house at the driveway. One citizen called and told me that as they went to work one day, they actually saw a couple of them in the driveway at West End Cemetery. So I think that, in the dark at night, they're throwing them out, a lot of places. So I needed to relay that.
Any other supervisor need to speak concerning the ordinance? Well, gentlemen, were you going to say something?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I'll just go reiterate that I haven't received any positive comments as far as the flyers being thrown out either.
Since we really didn't hear any negative comments, we did try to explain to Mrs. Swift that it does not.
And if I could, Ms. Swift, I don't know how it got misunderstood, but I too received a phone call last night from a lady who basically had yard sales in her yard, and I told her that it had nothing to do that it would affect her at all.
Well, my comment is, since we never heard that, I would entertain maybe a motion if you'd like to come forward with it today concerning this ordinance.
I'll make a motion that we accept the ordinance.
Second.
We have a motion that ordinance 2012-01 be accepted. No other discussion that I see. I'll call for a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Hall.
Aye.
Aye. The ordinance is passed 7-0. The next order of business, payment of invoices. Your motion.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. We pay the invoices. Anyone have any questions concerning any invoices? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Horning? Aye. Aye. And aye. We will move to unfinished business. And I think we have Mrs. Martha Umbarger here with us today, who will speak to us about our Susquehanna. I can't ever get that out.
That's all right, man.
150 years.
I have trouble with it, too.
The 150 years, I got that.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, gentlemen. The Wiz County Centennial Committee would like to invite you all to our History Mobile, which will be here on the 17th of April. I'd like to also tell you that the school children have really taken advantage of this. When schools open, there'll be a group there. Debbie Moody did a beautiful job of getting them scheduled. It will be open to the public, like from 2:30 in the afternoon till 7 at night on Tuesday, and on Wednesday from 2:30 to 5. It's going to be here even on Thursday morning from from 9 to 11, but it is gonna be for the schools. It's gonna be located at the town hall, and thanks to the town, Emerson, for all their hard work with dealing with this contract. I tell you, the state has gone nuts when it comes to dealing with them on a contract. The town is taking care of the insurance and the security. And then in the county, we have Gary Cody and Jenna Coleman, who's our, well, Gary has helped spread the word, Jenna has set up a website, and we really appreciate their work. Gary's gonna volunteer a couple of hours, I think on Wednesday. Rosa Judd has set up all the newspaper, radio. These people will be on Danny G. So there's been a lot of work going on. There'll be 4 people coming with this tractor and trailer. And Rosa did the accommodations, and the county is responsible for the accommodations. We are not responsible for anything else. So we hope to see you all on either the 17th or 18th. Come and walk through, and also the museums will be open. Thank you.
Will they be open free of charge that day?
I'm not sure about that. The museum does have a Civil War exhibit up.
Good county.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Nice seeing you again.
Nice seeing you.
Next we have from Blue Ridge Master Rachel, Mr. Dave Hickley. Welcome, sir.
Yes, sir, how you doing?
Fine.
The reassessment is pretty well winding down. I've instructed my staff to continue to see people through Thursday of this week, because we found some late notices that went out. I prepared a little report for you that shows a comparison of the change in taxable dollars from the prior reassessment to now. It looks like about a 12% increase in taxable value, and that's through the majority of the hearing changes that we made at the end of last week have been keyed in when that number. So it's pretty close to being final number. Have any questions?
Well, sir, the only question I've ever heard concerning this may be concerning the consistency.
Right.
Had people tell me that live on my street that they went down 20-some thousand, others said I went up 40 with pretty comparable houses. And you would like to speak to that issue, would you?
If the sizes are the same, they should be relatively close. The reassessment is not based on, just going down the street and saying, I want to make a uniform change to all properties up and down the street. The individual components of the individual houses. And we always, in 30-some years, they always get this question about this apparent lack of inconsistency. But really, when you break it down to its base units, they're always, there's always reason to justify a lot of differences. So, without looking at specifics, I just can't.
Well, I understand that. I'm just telling you what comments I've heard and inconsistencies.
Mr. Hickey, would you just explain a little bit to us, the difference in the, let's say the use class 2, which apparently went up 30%, and 4, that went down 6?
I really can't, I was surprised at that myself. I've been trying to call back to the office to find out why that number was like that. I just noticed that when I on the drive down here this morning. The numbers work out, I really don't understand why. I need to get on the computer to find that out.
What are the use class categories? I mean, what do they represent?
Class 1 is urban residential, is basically your town. Class 2 is suburban residential up to 20 acres. Class 3 is your multifamily. Class 4 is your industrial, commercial industrial. 5 is agricultural properties up to 100 acres. And Class 6 is greater than 100 acres. Now, somebody might own a 300-acre farm, but it might be in pieces. So each one of those pieces stands on its own and falls in the categories differently. Then the non-taxables are the 70 class numbers. I'm not really familiar with exactly. Some of them are state, some of them are religious, some of them are local, local government. This is how the state quantifies and ranks the assessment. I know that we have looked at the relationship between our new assessment and the sales from last July to the present, and our ratio, median ratio is running 97.1%. And you were down in the, I think the last one we met was in February. Mr. Dalton said that the number was down in the 80s the last time the state reported it. So you are looking at a 10 or 12% increase. So the increase is easily in relation to that. And what that ratio means is the ratio of the assessment divided by the sales price. So if the assessment and the ratio are the same, then that number is 100%. So 97.1 means it will be slightly less, but that's the number that the Department of Taxation likes us to.
Anyone else have a question?
No, but I would, as you go back to the office when you...
I'll look into that and let you know.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Would it make sense for Mr. Hickey, for the class 1 and 2 to be more close, because those are both residential classes, correct?
Right.
There's just one's in town.
One's in town.
I guess that would be in town of, like...
I'm just gonna have to, I'll have to look into it, and I'll be happy to find the answer and get it from Mr. Dalton. I was surprised to see that this morning. We'll catch it yesterday.
Let me ask this. I live around, I live on Route 11, just a regular, brick home, 1,100 square feet, acre land. Which class would I be in?
How much land do you have?
About an acre.
Yeah, you'd be in class 2.
Class 2.
If you're outside of town.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have just one more question. When were the latest notices sent? Because I did have a constituent call, I guess it was Friday, said she had just gotten her notice that week.
Yeah, after we sent out the original notices, we found a box of paperwork that had been overlooked by accident. We had to rush those out, so the last of them went out last weekend. And that's why I've instructed my people to be here through Thursday this week, for the citizen that has any questions.
Thank you.
Anyone have any thought?
Is there any way we can put that on the radio today or something? Let everybody know that you're still taking appointments today. said.
Last Friday was the last
Yeah,
Friday.
yeah, Monday was the last day to make an
Yeah,
appointment.
right.
So I guess if you read that you got it last Friday and you haven't made an appointment, that tells me,
Right.
unless we tell them otherwise.
Right. Well, it would have to be an absolute cutoff on Thursday, because I gotta get all that paperwork. We finalized on Friday.
How many people in the box?
Pardon?
How many people were in that box?
I don't remember.
And when was the notices sent out from this, the last?
The last one went out last weekend.
I had one received it Friday, but he called me Friday, having new construction, he's just living in a couple months.
Right.
That's
What most of this was new construction set aside, and after we looked at it, it's set aside, it's been overlooked by accident.
But you had your hand up as commissioner?
I've had people to call me, they were postmarked, some of them as late as this past Friday, we got them yesterday. And they have the envelopes that they can show the postmarks on them. And in the office yesterday, they were told that they cannot see them because they did not get the notices.
Well, I've told them to.
I know that these people called yesterday, and they were told they couldn't see them, and they were calling me fussing because they had lost one step of their, being able to, appeal.
Well, if you know who they are, you can please contact them and tell them. Because once I found it, when Jack called me yesterday evening and said there was a problem here.
And they weren't new construction.
Yeah.
These that called yesterday, they were not new construction.
I don't, there was a box of paperwork, and not all of it was new construction. Yeah, if you want to contact your local news outlet, that's fine.
We make arrangements to do that. And now, what's the new timeline? Because we need to announce this. This is, say that, telling us that, the people just got it yesterday, they need some time. But how can we guarantee they'll be listening to the radio? I think Enterprise is here, if you can publish this, or.
I know you'll get a little blurb in tomorrow.
Thank you, if you can.
Okay.
Not going to take care of the others, going to break down and call, but.
We'll call the newspaper, I guess, Dave, the real concern is, if they just got it yesterday, how do you, and I don't know if Faye keeps, so everybody that called in, and I understand the need to get the book printed, and we haven't seen it yet, but it would appear that, to me, that we should run it through Friday anyway, and let's at least get 2 days on them, if that's okay.
Yeah, as long as Friday's the last day, I can do that.
We'll get some ads.
I mean, my problem is the end of the month is here. And,
I understand.
But it wasn't citizens' fault that they didn't get mailed out.
No.
They should have a right to at least see it.
Yeah, and they always have the Board of Equalization here too. I mean, it happens, in all my 30 years, it always happens. There's always, some people don't get them, they don't get mailed to the correct address.
I guess the other, April the 5th, we're gonna have a training session with the new software at 1 o'clock.
Right. As long as that works out, come on,
Mr. Hickey, I know you tried to explain this, but I know the systems were supposed to be in at the end of December. Why is it took, here we are at the end of March, dealing with this, still dealing with it?
Well, we were doing a total conversion, and we had some problems with, in the data entry part of it. So it just took longer than we anticipated.
Mr. Chairman, one question I want just for clarification. If a citizen does not have going to the Board of Equalization is a prerequisite going through the
No.
Board of Assessors.
No.
So you can go directly to the Board of Equalization.
Actually, some people go to the Board of Assessors because they feel that's the people that did the assessment. They're not gonna get any justice, so they just wait to go to the local Board of Equalization, people they know and understand the problem.
Okay, I have to say, I didn't completely understand that. If I didn't, there may not be, there may be other people that, that didn't. I don't know how we let people know that, too. So that, because, we've always told people the first step is the Board of Assessors, and then, Board of Assessors, and then Board of Equalization. It's almost like an if-then statement,
But it really is not an if-then. You have the chance, every step you have a chance to go.
Okay.
If you want to skip the first step, then quite a few people do.
You go directly to court if you choose. You don't have to go to either Board of Assessors or Board of Equalization.
Well, if we feel that people understand that.
And we can get a gentleman to work with Bay and I, we got articles in the paper. Maybe we can get that on the front page.
Well, and the reason I ask that, Mr. Chairman, is because, what Ms. Barker said about, that they just got it and they felt like, I don't know if they felt like, well, if they didn't get a chance to appeal there, then their chance was shot.
No, they understand that, but most of the argument was that they missed the first step. They could argue twice or 3 times.
Okay, fine. Okay, but I mean, I guess that I misunderstood, but there wasn't anybody that felt that they did not have a right to appeal if they missed
No,
that
they
first step.
understand that they have a right to appeal after I.
But they wanted to go through the first step, right, I understand, okay, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chief. Next, we have the Speedwell Fire Department. I see Alfred Rosenbaum here. Alfred, if you come forward, please. Thank you.
Morning, gentlemen. Alfred Rosenbaum with the Speedwell Fire Department, Speedwell, Virginia. I had a letter that I needed to be here, and that's all I know of.
All right, sir. I think there's some concern about a resolution that was passed by this board that came to Speedwell and whether or not that was going to be followed or not.
Well, we do have some concerns about that. As y'all know, when we section B, any volunteer with a felony conviction shall not be eligible to be a member of either the volunteer fire department or volunteer rescue squad until their legal rights have been restored and submitted to the Board of Supervisors. What legal rights must be restored and submitted to the Board of Supervisors?
Well, I think as a convicted felon, I don't know what all the rights are taken away. I know one of them is you can't vote. You can appeal. In fact, I'm going to refer this to our county attorney. I think he can do a much better job than me going through this for you.
Like the chairman said, the right to vote goes away, the right to own a firearm goes away. I'm not sure what else goes away when they're convicted. Once some time has passed from the conviction, they can petition the circuit court and ask that certain rights be restored, whether that be the right to own a gun, to be able to go hunting, or to be able to vote again. Those are the two that I remember seem to be the two big ones. They can petition the circuit court judge to have those rights restored, and let them function like that again. I don't know what those are the rights that I'm familiar with at this time. I haven't looked it up to see if there's some others.
Excuse me, but don't the right to vote, doesn't have that come from the governor, don't you have to petition the governor's office?
They may.
I think they have to petition the governor's office, circuit court judge does the firearm, the rest of it has to come from the governor.
Okay, but on that why was this set in?
Well, I think we want to maintain a certain quality of any rescue. In fact, I believe, and Becky, you can correct me on this, right now, by state law, if you have a felony, you cannot be a member of a rescue squad, is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And you
I
do
know
not
that
have
on that.
certification.
I know that on the rescue squad, but it seems like it was just come to us, we got the impression that it was handed down after everything that went on with Mr. Mike Hale.
I can honestly say I do not believe that was the intention, but that was.
Well, we feel that was the intention, and that's why we wanna know why. He has been good to the community, good to the citizens in the Speedwell area. He's worked with everybody, and we felt like that was directed towards him. Mr. Hale's pulled his time, he's done his things, and all that. But that's the way we felt about it, that was directed towards that.
Well, you know, there were several things in that resolution, not only just that,
Yeah.
concerning training and so forth, so.
Yes, that's another thing. I want, what are the training requirements set forth by the Board of Supervisors? Do y'all have any training requirements?
I think firefighter one was mentioned in that too.
And that's what the board adopted several years ago, is they came from the fire and rescue group. It is amendment.
Okay, is this going to be within accordance of the state Department of Fire programs? Fire training? Or is this just something that the county's going to do? Or are they going to follow the state program on Department of Fire programs?
Well, I'm sure we'll stay as close as we can, but we have the right to set it above the state. The state would be a bare minimum. The county could have passed for higher requirements.
The state right now is about 145 hours.
That sounds pretty good. Firefighter one, is that not basically what we're asking?
That's what the other departments comply with. That's in the book that you put together for the fire and rescue department. But Mr. Chairman, more of this, I think, boils down to a question. Does the Speedwell Fire Department intend to comply with the request from the board?
Yes.
Okay?
We just like to have some clarifications on this, because it was just handed to me, and here it was, and that's all, and we didn't know. We asked Mr. Horny, he said that we need to come talk to y'all. It's just when you hand a piece of paper and this is all goes on, it's just like you walking around the corner and somebody hitting you in the face with a hammer. You just wonder what went on. We just like to know why, and that was some of my questions. I didn't know why I was going to be here for today. I had a letter handed to me the other day in the Fire and Rescue Association meeting, and it was like, okay, what have I done this time?
Was that letter not handed to other chiefs though?
I do not know.
When did you say you received it?
I received it the other day at the Fire and Rescue Association meeting on the 19th. I believe that's when it was, the 3rd. No, it wasn't. It was the other Wednesday. Like you handed it to me down here at Whipple last week. And there was nothing mentioned in the Fire and Rescue Association about it.
Mr. Chairman, I don't follow that line of thought, and you enlighten me. Why would the board have to communicate with the Fire and Rescue Association? I don't understand that function, or what part they're playing in this.
Well, they are an advisory board to us for their concerns. I assume that's as far as our power, is that not right, as an advisory board?
Well, if you're asking me.
I am, sir.
my understanding, the way it was, the blue book that was put together, recommended certain things. One, the creation of the Fire and Rescue Authority. That group, on overall matters, budget items, would transfer, put together requests to the board.
Request to the board, and
It's backwards. We did provide the resolution to each and every fire and rescue. Everybody's shaking their head yes. That resolution. My understanding, the resolution was passed to provide a conformity, equal basis for everybody, and provide the maximum trust to the citizens for all fire and rescue squad members. The rescue people at our meetings that they already complied with that. That shouldn't be a problem with all agencies to provide that trust back to the citizens of the county. The issue about the training was part of that was recommended to the board. The board adopted that several years ago. It was just an affirmation of what we previously said that needed to be done, and came from that Fire and Rescue Association to the board. So it's just an affirmation. The board had never, a resolution with a higher standing effect than just a discussion of the board saying, we accept what you said. It's just an affirmation of things the board felt important for the Fire and Rescue Association to comply. It went to everybody. Alfred, I will tell you that the reason you got the letter was that I was handed a dispatch or CAD sheet from dispatch that showed Mr. Hale was at a fire after that initial resolution was delivered to you, and after I was notified of that, which was, since it was there, it was not in compliance with the resolution the board had, so I asked you to come to I said, and Mr. Davidson, I think it was last Wednesday, y'all had something about turnout gear.
Yes, sir.
So that's where we stand.
So as, clarify this for me, you're saying that as of right now, Mr. Hale cannot be on our department or answer fire calls?
That is the board resolution.
After, with this date,
The date is on the resolution. Yes.
February 28th. Mr. Hale got out on February 23rd. And this was not passed till the 28th. He answered a call the following day, following evening. And then this all of a sudden turned in. This was here. That was some of our department's concern.
The CAD report I saw, Alfred, was in the fire on St. Peter's Road, which was last week.
Yes, sir. But Mr. Hale, like I said, Mr. Hale come back on the 23rd. He got out on February the 23rd and was home. We had a call on February 24th, which he answered.
Which was okay, because the board hadn't passed that resolution. After the 28th, or the day you received that, then the fire department should have taken some action to comply with the board's direction.
But it seems like y'all are just reaching out and grabbing a hem. I have another question. When y'all done the so-called blue book, concerning the thing, y'all had a convicted felon come in and do the blue book and go into each department. Now, what is the difference? Mr. Hale has not done nothing to none of the Board of Supervisors or anything. If this is concerning Mr. Hale, I think it needs to be set down with him and some of the other ones set in a private meeting.
Mr. Chairman? Yes, sir. We discussed this when we had all the fire and rescue, fire departments here. We discussed this, the problems and some of the complaints that I had received about convicted felons serving on the fire department. And whenever they done this blue book, I have no idea or don't have who did it, and really that's in the past. But us as a board, we discussed from that meeting that we had, we've discussed it, and we come up with this resolution, that it doesn't only apply to Mr. Hales, it applies to everybody on the fire department, everybody on the rescue squad. That's why we want, every year, we have criminal histories run on everybody in the fire department and rescue squad. And I think we owe it to the citizens of Witt County to have the most respectable people on the fire department and rescue squad.
But
And it's not pointed towards Mr. Hale. I don't even know Mr. Hale personally. I've met him a couple of times, but as far as personally, no, I don't. And it's nothing personal to him, as far as my concern. My concern, it encompasses anybody, I don't care who they are, that needs to be serving on the rescue squad, fire department, any position that's dealing with the citizens of Witt County.
Okay, so in other words, you're saying that as of right now, he's got to be off the department?
Yes, that's our resolution. He's
Okay.
an effective
Okay.
veteran until
One-
he gets his
I've
right
got
restored.
another question, but one thing too is, when the blue book was passed, y'all was not going to get into dealing with, you're going to let each department run their own. You was just going to be over like the finances and things. This seems like that you're starting to reach into each department and tell them what each department they can do past their bylaws. It's the way we feel.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rosenbach, are you currently the chief?
I'm assistant chief, I'm acting chief right now, but when Mr. Hale come back, he come off a personal leave of absence. We have a personal leave of absence in our department. He took it. When he come back, he stepped right back into his position.
So, since we're talking about dates, as of March 27th, he is the chief.
Yes, sir.
Although I heard you say that y'all plan to comply with the resolution, which makes him ineligible to be the chief.
Well, that is internal department. But that was one of our concerns, but that just seems like it was just picked right out. All this come on after a while with Mr. Hayden.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'll come at it a little different way. I received a phone call from, from a fire rescue, department that actually was grateful that we had put in the fact that once lights were restored, they could re-enter, because they felt that would give people an opportunity after the prescribed time by the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something?
Yes, ma'am, I'll accept it.
My name is Dawn Darlington. I'm a resident of the Speedwell District, and I don't know how you all feel, but the way I feel, I don't know this man that y'all are talking about, but if my house were on fire and my loved one was in danger of dying or whatever, then I wouldn't care who came to help me. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that if all of you all, if your loved one was in danger, that they were going to die, if somebody didn't come and get them, put your house out or rescue them from the fire, you're not going to ask to see credentials. I mean, that's the way I feel. I think that if these people work as volunteers, right? They don't receive any pay for this. They are doing this on their own time for the citizens. And I think that if they're giving their time, then, you know, there needs to be some exceptions there. I mean, that's just the way I feel. Because like I said, whether he's a convicted felon or not, if he's coming to my house to put out a fire or rescue one of my family members from a fire or take my family member to the hospital or whatever, I mean, I don't care who it is, as long as somebody's coming to help.
Okay, you made your point, ma'am, thank you.
Okay?
All I can say is that we have a resolution, that we set a bar. We
Okay.
expect every fire department and rescue squad to reach that bar.
All right. So, in other words, as right now, Mr. Hale will have to be off, but once he gets his legal rights back on, he can come back on the department as a firefighter,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay. Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Alfred?
Yes, sir.
On Virginia.gov, there's a restoration of rights limitation
Mm-hmm.
that spells out every step that you have to do. Gets you from rights restored. It's under Virginia.gov. Just type in restoration of rights.
Okay.
And it'll
I will
tell
pass that along.
It'll tell you every step that the governor requires that you do.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
will you entertain a motion?
Yes, sir.
I move that we ask the county administrator to monitor this situation, see it's complied with as soon as possible. That gives him the authority to monitor it in whatever way necessary to correct this problem.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded that the county administrator have the power to monitor the situation as to see if the resolution is complied with. I assume that's the gist of the,
Yes, to take whatever action.
whatever action is needed to enforce the law. Anyone else have any discussion at all concerning this?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How many days did I can give them to fill out these papers and send them back in?
I think the date's on
April first.
April first.
He gave them papers at Fire and Rescue, it was the 19th.
I had not received mine.
They were there that night.
Yeah.
Were you there that night?
I had them in the folder and, all the departments was picking them up and they didn't get theirs and I've already notified Ivanhoe to pick theirs up. And they're the ones that-
If you have that folder, can you not hand it to them right now?
Yes, I've got it in the office.
I'll
You
step,
leave,
I'll
get
go
it
back by
done.
this evening and pick it up.
The motion you just made, that pertains to all the fire departments, I mean, he needs
That's
to
right.
monitor all of them.
Any other discussion? All right, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Mr. Dalton, is there any other unfinished business?
I do not have it.
Anyone, any board member? Seeing none, we'll move to reports. First one being the treasurer, Mr. Sam Crockett. Sam?
Good morning, gentlemen. Morning. Quick little update on financial collections done through the end of this month. On our consolidated account report, there's $58,381,000 in our general fund balance. End of the month, $33,087,000. On the report that's come around, quickly, the collections through yesterday were, paper is so thin anymore, you can't do it anymore. State contract papers put into it, it's like putting toilet paper in a fax machine, so thin the paper just sticks together, which is awful. But on the, our collections, we're at $17,008,000, which is about 101% of our collections for the year. And we've exceeded our budget to date, about $149,600. So collections seems a little slower, but and when I went out last 2 weeks selling decals, it seemed a little slower, but we were only about 60 off from the year before. So at the end of last year, we sold 16,800 decals, and we're at 7,200 right now, so we got about 9,500 to sell in the next 2 weeks. But hopefully we'll have maybe wild again like it was last year. That's all I really got. Anybody got any questions? Back.
Mr. Crockett, if I might, when you get done with the decal season, because some of your regular typers come in, if you will print that report for all these transportation districts, so I can run the annual numbers off of it, I would appreciate it. Wait till after that's over,
All right.
so we'll do it.
All right, y'all have a good day.
Thank you. Sheriff, you have anything else today?
Just a couple of items, Sheriff. Some good, some bad.
Keep the bad and share the good.
First thing I want to mention is public service announcement. Which will be on April 21st at the Sheriff's Office. We're going to be doing our annual Drug Take-Back Day, which is, once again, for legal prescription drugs that people have around their house. We don't take methamphetamine or cocaine.
You will with the warrant.
They won't bring them by, we can take care of them, but, this is for, people that have, medicines in their medicine cabinet. A lot of people have, family members have passed in the past year that were on some pretty strong pain medications. It's the opportunity for them to dispose of them legally without flushing them down the toilet, which creates havoc with the public water systems and the groundwaters. It'll be from 10 to 2 at the Sheriff's Office, once again on April 21st. Secondly, I spoke to you last month about the program that the Drug Enforcement Administration was working with the Virginia State Police on the disposal of the active ingredients, the dangerous ingredients on meth labs. We hosted a 3-day symposium here, put on by the DEA, and just about every county and state police agent in the 4th Division attended that meeting. We had a pretty good crowd, just to explain to them how to handle these materials. The bottom result, the end result of all of this is basically the way it's looking right now, we're not going to have to deal with the issue of using county funds for the disposal of hazardous waste. When we seize a drug lab, we're having to run out of all the drug lab, which lately appears to be the pattern. We're not looking for them, we go there for another reason and find them. But now, with this in place, it's not going to cost us anything. The last thing is something that we had talked about in the past. I'm not sure I fully understand it, but I will read it to you. At 10 till 4 yesterday afternoon, the Senate took a formal vote on the fine diversion amendment to their budget. The amendment was killed, removing the fine diversion. At 10 after 5, 20 minutes later, one of the people who voted against the fine diversion asked it to be brought back before the floor.
Only way they can.
This time they passed it by voice vote. Now, from what I understand from the House of Delegates people, they plan to reject all Senate budget amendments. So we are still in a waiting, holding period. Now, I will tell you that the state is handling the formula. There is some information that the funds collected are going to be providing raises for a certain select group rather than everybody as a whole, which we have a strong objection to, especially considering the percentage of raise that we're talking about, which is 9.7%. And look at the fact that we haven't had a raise from the state in many years, and then pick out a select group to give a 9.7% raise to, we have strong objection to that. But once again, as I said, the House's plan is to reject all amendments to the budget.
Puts them right back where they are.
Yes. Then they'll have to hash it out, and then the governor has a chance to cut it out on his line item deal. So we are still working steadfastly against it. When I was checking my email, I breathed a sigh of relief at 10 till 5, and at 10 after 5, I was gnashing my teeth rather loud. So, but there's where we are. Bottom line on that, should it go all the way to the General Assembly and the governor sign it, it will take approximately $125,000 with county. And that's set by a state form, which once again, our General Assembly is robbing us of local funds. I'm mad about it. I would trust that each one of y'all would be mad about it, because the funds that we use from that, 75% of them are for programs the state started and ended, and we have continued. That's all I have to say. And I hate to end that on a sour note, but that is all. But I'll be willing to answer any questions.
Mr. Dalton, I was wondering if email could be shot off to Andy B. and Delegate Carrico today. That's right, he sent.
Senator Carrico has been championing the dropping of this entire idea all throughout the Senate session. He's been our point man on it. Well, it sure gets defeated.
But I think if we just say, keep up the good work on one, and then remind Andy B. how important we feel like this is to Wood County, and what'd you say, $125,000?
And Ralph Smith too.
Yeah, I keep on. Yeah.
Ralph actually voted to kill the amendment the last time. First time he voted for it, but the last time after I sent him several pieces of information and also notified the Carroll County Sheriff of what was going on, since they had the same program as we do. He also was in contact with Senator Smith's office.
Remind me about Senator Smith. He's new to it, so. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, since we've got 60% of the constitutional officers here, one of the things that we have to deal with this year is the requirement that came from the state that we start either phasing out or providing employees start paying their percentage of the retirement. More than likely, since it's an offset, the 5%, the governor's budget said the county has to give a 5% raise to employees, and the employee has to pay the 5%. Currently, that's where we stand. If you have any comment about that, talk. I think I've been trying to set an appointment with constitutional officers the next couple of weeks to talk about it. But currently, we have no choice. So we expect to implement that this year.
That's why they've been going back and forth on it.
Well, I know that one of the governor's priorities is that they will throw that back on the employee and the community can't play it anymore, so. I don't understand all the reasoning for it, but I'm not the governor, so.
Now, to me, it's, to be honest with you, it's the trail trucks, or the trail actually is an agreement that, it takes several years to get, give up the grade.
I was involved in that.
Exactly.
My work, yes.
Exactly. But, again, Virginia General,
Thank you.
thank you.
Ms. Parker, you're not on our agenda, but if you have some comments, we'd love to hear from you.
My complaint is the reassessment still, and, I have given Tim a list of things that I have complaints about. But he said this, Dave Hickey said this morning that the addresses were wrong. The addresses were correct on our stuff when they downloaded it. And I had got some samples here of stuff that we've gotten back. This one is Imogene and Owens Jackson and Kara Victoria Williams, Waldorf, Maryland. They left the address completely off of a bunch of this stuff. I mean, and I've taken them back, you know, we've corrected the addresses on them, taken them back over to the reassessment office, and I don't think they have any intention of sending them back out to the people. So I don't know how many people's not gotten them. Another thing, the VAMINET, the Virginia Mass Appraisal Network that the people can look at, the reassessment notices have a different figure on some of them than what's on VAMINET. So, you know, that's another complaint. He said that it was all new construction or anything. Bill Bowen, all of y'all probably know Bill, been on the highway. He has no new construction. He did not get his reassessment notice until Friday, and Bill was not happy. But I mean, I finally got him calmed down that he does know that he has a second chance or a third chance to appeal. Another thing is Carolyn Helder. She lives up on Union Street. Our address is correct. She's been over there probably 60 years. Went to Salem, Virginia, Union Street, Salem, Virginia. Where they got these addresses, I have no idea. I can go on and on about it. You know, it's I had Bill Cooper that came in with his reassessment notice. His went from $66,600. This is on a small tract of land that had a $4,000 building on it before. His assessment was to $35 million. And I know this is a mistake, you know, they figuring this into figures that they're giving you. And there was another one that was at 800 and some thousand, 800 and some million. You know, and I mean, it just goes on and on. And another one of my complaints is, I had a lady call me Friday night at the house, and she said she was trying to be a good citizen. And she had built a new house last year. She got the assessment on her old house, but not on the new house. And we had those figures on our computer. The building permit was given to reassessment. Every Friday, they had a stack of changes that were sent to their office in Stanton. And we don't know what they did with those changes. And she says, I'm just trying to be a good citizen to tell you that my assessment went down from $209,000 to $85,000 because her old house was valued at $85,000 and the new house was $209,000. And she's being a good citizen. How many citizens do we have out there that's not going to tell us? And there's no way for us to see it unless we accidentally run across it because most of them aren't going to tell us. I've worked there long enough to, you know, but they're not going to come in and say, hey, you're not assessing me with the night. But
David, we keep a list of what we send them so that we can have some staff member check every one of them.
I don't know whether Kathy did because see, that was all sent before I took office, and I don't know whether they did or not.
We should keep a log of it, so that back check.
But Mr. Hickey, to me, he acts like he's never done a reassessment. He acts like this was the first time he's ever done it, and he tells us he's been in business for 30 years. And nobody can give us a direct answer down there, and nobody knows who the job supervisor is. Jeff, I don't know what his last name is, he was named in the contract as being the supervisor, but they pulled him off the job a year and a half ago. So, I mean, it's been one fiasco after another then. I mean, it's just, you know, and another problem I have is, I know that, Mr. Dalton explained to me that they took $2 off of the bid for parcel if we would use their computer system. Well, the computer system is 20 years behind time, 15, 20 years behind time. And we talked to some people in Blaine County. They had a videotape the training session so they can go back and look at the video of how to use the program. And we've got a perfectly good program right now, and I'm just totally against using this new program. I've got a young man that's in my office, and he's really computer savvy. He knows everything about computers. But he has never used the F function keys on the computer. And this is going back to the old DOS programs or whatever that you had to use the F keys. I haven't used F keys on the computer for 15, 20 years. So, you know, I know that it took $2 off. And I know it's in the contract, but as far as I'm concerned, I think the contract is void because Mr. Hickey hasn't upheld his end of the contract.
Well, you know, Mr. Hickey hasn't been paid all his money yet.
Yeah, I understand that.
Fellow supervisors. We'll have to solve this one way or the other, and we can always hold money. And that's the best way I've found when you deal with people, you hold money, they usually come around.
But when we have the training on the computer, I invite all of you down to look to see how hard it is to draw the drawings on their program compared to what we have now, and do a transfer and everything.
Mr. Chairman, yes.
Now, do they download stuff from the assessment to that computer? Can they download it to what you're using now?
They did last time.
They did last
year,
time?
that's what they did. And another thing, I told y'all before, there's no way to do credits. We have, on this new program, there's no way to do the age credits or veterans credits. They're telling me they do have a way to do the land use. There's no way to do the road tax. I know we only had 2 that will be on there this year because the rest of them went off at the end of the late year. But and as of right now, there's no way to transfer the information to the treasurer's office. The 2 computers can't talk. So, and when I brought this up to the lady that came to show me, she says, well, we're strictly real estate. Well, our age credits, disability credits, land use, veterans credits, it is real estate. And so, you know, I don't understand what she thinks that they are. But I just wanted y'all to be informed of what's going on. I mean, it's something every day. And yesterday was really, because people were really upset that they had just gotten notices. So.
Like I said, I had a gentleman contact me Friday, but his construction, but he said he's been living in it now. I say new construction, he's been living in it 3 or 4 months.
And I just wonder if they got the full value on that house.
Yeah.
That's not, you know, something else. Did they not put the full value on it? And the lady that works my building permits, she can't go out and work building permits now because we don't know whether they picked them up, and we haven't got a book or anything to look at. And that's another thing, we haven't got the book yet, so it's just one thing right after another.
Well, we thank you for all this cheery information. Next, we have Board of Supervisors reports, and we'll start with Black Lake District.
Only thing Mr. Chairman, if I could, direct it to Mr. Dalton. I got a phone call last night from Mr. Wayne Smeltzer, Smelser, who lives what I always call the Green Gables, up, you know, where the little, up the straight stretch going toward Route 3, where the little antique shop used to be. Okay. He lives in that, and he was calling to complain about the condition of his yard after after the, you know, the water line, you know, people, went through, I told him that I would bring it up and have someone get in touch with him. Could I give you a couple phone numbers?
Yes.
All right, his home phone is 686-6517. But then his cell phone, which probably would be easier to reach him in the daytime, is 620-2724. And he also said, and this is true, that his father-in-law lives beside him, and they have had one of the big track hose or whatever, you know, parked there for a long, long time, and it's really starting to sink into the ground, and yeah, he was, you know, concerned about that too. Now, granted, it's on the right of way, but you know, we have people mow, you know, down to the road. So, I mean, if we could have address those issues, I would appreciate it.
Did you have this address? I can get that.
Okay, no, I'm sorry, I didn't ask him his address because I knew where he lived.
Well, the guy saying may not exactly know it all.
Okay. And that's, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
With them.
Nothing other than just what, to kind of go off of Faye's point, I did get a call Friday from someone who had just received their.
Now you see the deadline dates back.
Yeah, and they were, you know, and I instructed them to call up here, and we would still take the appointment, which hopefully is not going to create a problem, but just another surprise in this process for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bridge job on Ranges Mountain Road is moving along, and I think it's not going to be that much longer before it's open to traffic, and then supposedly the bridge job on Pepper's Ferry Road will start sometime in the spring. From Mr. Dalton, I've got a request from at least two people wanting a minor feasibility about opening a convenience station somewhere on East Lee Highway, somewhere Grimsford or east of there. The sheriff's front yard might work, you know, he's down there.
Looks like it now.
But is it feasible, and what would it cost to put a convenience station down that way?
The last one we bought, or I guess including land and the development, it's around $150,000.
You had to buy the land?
The only places we haven't bought the land is AEP gave us the land for $1 down at Max Meadows, and one at Austensville. We're there by the grace of the Austensville Limestone Company.
Yeah, you have been a spearhead with this. I just thought maybe you'd like to say something, but take some credit for that as far as the tires and so forth, to remind the public.
Well, we've tried to get this out for Witt County Spring Clean, and Jenna's done a good job with this. We've got it posted in stores. We don't have near the amount of country stores we used to have, but what we have, we got these out. I think Janet G's had it on, and we've had it on the cable, is that right? Folks, please bring at least 2 loads of tires back for free, because I'm going to look like a fool if those trailers are empty. There's a lot of tires out there, and this is a chance to get rid of an ongoing problem. And this shouldn't be a one-time thing. I think it's a good time to start thinking about efforts to pick up the trash with this new ordinance. Sheriff, this is a question. If somebody will identify themselves and give y'all a tag number of people throwing stuff out, no anonymous, but will y'all be able to follow up on it, at least give them a warning?
Well, if I can get somebody, if they want to do it anonymous, we can only do a warning.
Right.
If they're willing to stand up on and say what they saw, of course, we can issue a summons.
Let's use this as kick off to,
I had planned to do that tonight, you'd already asked me, but I just thought since you had kind of spearheaded that, you might want to have it under your name and the record.
thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. McRoberts, say none?
The only thing is, the graduation for this year is, May 16th for vocational school. 17th be, Bull Retreat, George Will, at 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Fourth year will be 18th at 10 o'clock. And Dr. Brandon will be here Monday.
And Mr. Reed?
I have,
The only thing I have is, if you should have received in the mail, an invitation to the annual spring commissioners meeting for the Mount Rogers Planning District Commission. Just to remind you that you have until Friday, the RSVP, if you're planning to attend. Did you see one of those? Did you got one?
If I haven't seen it yet.
I don't remember getting it, but of course I didn't get an invitation to the other meeting. You all didn't believe me, but I did.
Okay, I'll check on that, but I'll call, we'll check on it for the dates out.
I think I got that.
Okay. It should have gone out to every supervisor.
That's what you said before.
Of course, I check my mail a lot more than they do. I get checked every now and then.
Well, thank you.
You can skip me, because I don't have anything.
Well, I don't know, I had a check mark by you, I guess.
You knew I didn't have anything. I've got some things with VDOT and different things that's gonna come up later, so.
Folks, if it's all right with you all at this time, before we get to new business, we'll go ahead and take a break at new business. And we'll hear from the water committee at this time.
Break now.
No, I said, it's all right with you, you can hang on, we'll go to the.
I got you. All right, the water committee met on Tuesday, March 20th, 2012, and makes the following recommendations. First one is to authorize Mr. Terry McPeak of 954 Lead Mines Road to pay the reduced connection fee of $350. And Mr. McPeak will have 30 days to arrange for payment, which I think he probably made arrangements the day that we discussed it.
Right. And I think everybody remembers the situation you came forward to citizens time last meeting. Coming from the committee, it needs no second. Is there any discussion concerning this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote, and Mr. Twain, since I let you out, I'll call for you first. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
And aye.
All right, the second one is to adopt the enterprise zone rates as recommended by the Water and Wastewater Director, Don Chris. Rates will be effective the June of 2012 billing.
Again, coming from committees, anyone have any discussion, comments concerning these rates?
And those are industrial
Industrial.
rates, not residential.
Industrial rates in Progress Park,
Right. That's all.
increasing by the cost of inflation.
No discussion, Mr. Hall?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye. And aye.
And the third thing is to authorize the staff to recognize a reduced $350 connection fee per site for trailer parks in the county. The $350 fee will apply to each individual residence and be paid by the owner of the trailer park.
That's on for new construction during the reduced price.
Right.
And the reason for this is at the meeting we had, which we don't think it was Thursday night, one lady who, I think one lady has 4 trailers, another one has 1 that they're in, and I gotta tell you, it came as a surprise to us, we're talking about the commercial rates. Well, the commercial rates are, high, for that, so what we're recommending is just to go back to, $350 connection fee per unit, which, in their case, drops it, dramatically. And they were at our water meeting when we made that, and they seemed to be, pleased with the motion.
other discussion? Tony? Aye. Aye. And aye. Okay,
You have anything on what we decided yesterday?
Was that,
or do I have to ad lib that one?
is that under new business or this?
Well,
I'm not a committee, it came from the committee, so.
this afternoon, we haven't written it up, so if you want to bring it out, you need to ad lib it.
I don't know if I can remember it. You made the motion, Gary, can you?
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Of course, one of the things that we discussed earlier was the possibility of some reduced connection fees for some people of lower income. One of the things that we did was looked at the standards, the federal standards set by schools for free and reduced price lunches. Of course, the free lunches for the school system was set at 130% of the poverty level. The poverty level right now for a household of one is $10,890. So what we recommend is that if people meet these standards, if they are at 120% or lower, poverty level, and if they have less than $1,500 in checking accounts, bank accounts, cash, and they make the application and provide documentation for that, then we would reduce, if they qualify for that, we would reduce the connection fee the same as we do for for the tax credit for elderly and handicapped by $200, and the connection fee would be $150, which they would still be able to pay, on the payment plan that we have. It would just, they would get paid off, much earlier. But that way, we can look at helping, citizens on, that have lower income.
And they have to come to the county and fill out that form or an application part of the credit, and they have to submit their tax forms and
a bank
bank
statement.
statements.
Yeah.
So that, we can verify